pull it up above your head, down in front, and now you have level 3A armor on your chest. What's up guys, welcome back to another episode. Now, if you're new here, my name is Adam. I am an adventurer. I'm a Sea-Doo brand ambassador. I love to get out and do things that I enjoy. I'm also very much into being prepared for any given situation. And if you've seen one of my recent videos where I went through an EDC backpack that I built while I was drunk that basically has everything that I would need on a day-to-day basis. Well, a lot of people in the comments talked about building an EDC go bag. So this is something that sits ready that you hope you never have to use, but in an emergency situation, you could grab it, leave the house, jump in the truck, and you know that you've basically got everything that you would need to get you through a few days, maybe with the exception of food, although I do have some in here. This is more the medical supplies, the gizmos, the gadgets, and as you've seen from the title, the bulletproof armor. Yes, this backpack is bulletproof, and I'm going to show you how. So the backpack itself is made by a company called BodyGuard. This is the Switchblade model, and this is the pack that they basically designed for everyday use. So I have this absolutely crammed full. You couldn't really get much else in here. They do make a larger one called the First Responder, but it doesn't have as many organizational pockets, and to me that's super important. So if you want something that's bigger that you can just stash stuff in, then great, you can get that bag. But for me, I like the fact that I have multiple pockets here for organization, being able to store things and have access to them quickly and easily in that emergency situation. So what we'll do is we'll start here on the front, and we have this small front pocket here. Now on all of my zippers I have these, and these are by a company called Glow Rhino. Now what these are tritium tubes. So these are actually a type of radioactive material. It's stable, it's safe, it isn't going to make you grow 3 heads and give you all sorts of issues. They're these little teeny tiny vials, and inside of here there is an isotope, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but there is something that will glow apparently for the next 10 years. You don't need to charge it. It doesn't need any light source at all to make it glow. It just does. So right now it doesn't look like much, but if you're in a dark room, this thing will be lit up like a Christmas tree and allow you to easily find all of your zippers. So each one of these is a different color. So let's dive into this front pocket. And in here, what I have are pretty much my everyday essentials. So there is this quick release tab here. I have this awesome little knife, which is a regular Stanley knife blade, so you can replace those. It's by Gerber or Gerber, however you want to pronounce it. It's also got a pry bar on the end of it too, so you are able to use it for prying nails, opening boxes. This is relatively sharp, so you could open a box with that too. Very nicely made, and I just have it on this keychain here, which I attach. Obviously you can also put your keys on there as well, but I have that there so I can grab it in a pinch. In this front mesh pocket, all I have in here right now are just 2 chapsticks. So again, you can store little items in here. You can see through this mesh, which is nice. And then this pocket on the left, I have my little Field Notes notebook. And then I have a mechanical pencil, I have a regular gel pen, and I have a Sharpie, because you never know when you might need to use a Sharpie. Like I said, I have done a video on my everyday carry bag, which is a lot of this same stuff. So go back and check out that video after you've watched this one. And I do go into more information, more detail on some of these things, but I just want to run through and get to the real exciting part of this bag. So that is for me to be able to make notes. And then in the front here, I have just a small everyday first aid kit. This has got your basics in. It's got some antihistamine pills. It's got some painkillers. It's also got some Germaline, which over here is called Neosporin in America, but this is the British stuff and it is so good. So every time I get my mum to come over from the UK, I get her to bring me a bunch of this because I absolutely love the stuff. Cuts, scrapes, burns, itches, it doesn't matter what, itches? Bites. Cut, scrape, burns, bites. It doesn't matter what it is. That stuff is great for it. And then, yeah, just some basic like headache pills, that kind of thing. Some latex gloves, some Dramamine. I've got some little tweezers in here as well. So this is just like a very quick grab first aid kit. I do have a full trauma kit in here as well, but this is just the stuff that you might need on a daily basis. And then obviously it is always important to carry a tourniquet with you, or a tourniquet, however you want to pronounce it. And this thing is basically going to save your life should you get an injury where you are bleeding out and you need to stem the bleeding. Again, I have another one of these in the trauma kit itself, but this is just a quick grab. And then, because we are talking about a bulletproof backpack, which A lot of you guys watching this are gonna go, Adam, why would you need a bulletproof backpack? I hope I never do, but the opportunity arose for me to test this thing, and why am I gonna say no to that? It's pretty cool. It has fulfilled my childhood dreams of being a real life action man. Like I said, I hope I never have to use it, but just in case, I do have it. And so, as we are talking about being bulletproof, we have to make sure that we have things like vented chest seals. So if somebody was to get a traumatic injury to their torso and you need to seal it up, then you have these on deck. I have one pack of these in the front. I also have another pack of these in the trauma kit itself. But like I said, this is just like a quick grab in the front here so that you've got easy access to it in a pinch. Oh, and then in the front here, I said about sustenance. You always got to have a Cliff Bar on deck. I love these things. Pretty high calories for what they are. 260 calories in a single bar. So if you pack 3 or 4 of these with you, you can definitely get through a couple of days with some water as well and be good. Talking of water, I also have this, which I did feature in the last video. So this is a Life straw bottle. So this actually has a filtration straw in the middle. So I could fill this bottle up with dirty puddle water, and then when you drink through the straw itself, it will filter it as you're drinking it. Again, getting into it later on, I also have a full water filtration system in here, but just for your regular, everyday run and gun stuff, this thing works a treat. And I've used this on a bunch of travel trips recently where I take it to the airports empty and then I'll go fill it up. And if you can't get access to one of the water purifier like bottle fillers, you can just use regular tap water and it will filter out any of the nasties that might be in there. The way I look at it is if I can drink dirty puddle water with it, it's probably going to be okay drinking some, you know, gas station tap water if you needed to. So that thing, considering it's the size of a regular water bottle, can't recommend highly enough. And also everything that I'm talking about here, I will be linking in the description so you can go and check it out and you can go and pick them up. Some of the stuff I do have an affiliate deal with, so if you do purchase it, it does help out me and Diesel, my dog right down here, who's having the best time in the grass. It does help us run this channel and get to do these adventures and make these videos. So thank you in advance if you do use one of those links. All right, so moving into the next pocket, this one here, like I said, I've got this thing packed pretty full, and so in here all I have are my electrical charging things. So I have this little pouch. I'm a big fan of having things organized in individual pouches, so if you need to grab something for charging, for medical, for whatever, you have a pouch that does that rather than having to fish out individual things. So what I have here is just a very simple pouch and it has 2 pockets on it. So we have this front pocket here which contains all my cables that I need. So I have a large iPhone cable, I have a USB-C to USB-C, I have a regular USB to USB-C, I have my flashlight charger, and then this thing is absolutely amazing. So this is a multi-cable. So in this tiny little package, you take off this lid and what you have, firstly, you have a USB to a lightning connector. Then you can change it to a USB-C to lightning connector, and then you can pull this and get another USB-C. So basically this cable will get you out of a pinch, no problem whatsoever. Obviously it's not very long, so that doesn't really help you if you're trying to plug into a wall and have your phone with you. But like I said, in an emergency situation, you could get out of a lot of trouble with this little cable. It takes up very little real estate in the bag. I absolutely love it. And then in the back here, I have a large power brick. So this one is by Anker. This thing is always fully charged. I make sure that I keep everything in my go bags fully charged. And then this one, let's see, what is the size on this one? I don't know, it's pretty big. I wanna say this thing is something like 26,000 milliamp hours. So this will power my iPhone multiple times from empty all the way up to full. So yeah, really, really good. And then I have a long iPhone cable in here should I need to plug into the wall. Now, one of the things that actually isn't in here because it is in my truck right here, I just used it on the way over, is a regular wall power brick. So that has 2 regular USB ports, and it also has 2 USB-C ports as well. And that fits in right here as well. I just realized that that is in the truck. So yeah, that's one of the other things that I carry. And then given that we are talking about being able to grab this bag and spend a couple of days off grid if you needed to, I also have this, which is another USB power bank. But the beauty of this one is that it has this fold out solar panel here. Now, is this going to get you a full charge in a matter of hours? No, it's definitely not. This is more of one of those things where you're out somewhere, you desperately need to get some power, you lay this out in the sun all day, and hopefully it gives you enough to charge up your phone and make that important call or send that text message or whatever. So I wouldn't rely on this as basically being something that will fully recharge itself in the sun, but it will eventually. And so I figure that, you know, some is better than nothing, and it packs away into a very compact package. This one is 40,000 milliamp hours. So this is a huge battery bank. So I make sure this thing is fully charged at all times. And then, like I said, if I was out in the middle of nowhere with no access to power, then I would be able to use this to get me out of a pinch. So in this front pocket here, I have my flashlights. These are made by LEDLenser, and they are the best flashlight company, as far as I'm concerned, out there. This little lantern is so cool because not only does it have a regular 3-stage white light, and you can hook it onto things with this hook here, but it also has, which is most, oh, and a SOS light, but it also has a red light. So if you push and hold this button on the top, you will then get a red light, which is great for being able to read maps in the dark, to not draw too much attention to yourself if you do need a light source, but you don't want people to be able to see you, and also for preserving your night vision. So if you were walking somewhere where there was no light and you needed to preserve that night vision, then using red light is good for that. So I absolutely love these things, super tiny, and they are rechargeable, but they also run on these batteries, which looks to me, I may be wrong, looks to me like an AA battery. So I'm pretty sure that in a pinch, I could swap out this rechargeable with an AA, or a AA, as you guys might call it, and you should be fine, I think. Don't quote me on that one, I'm not a professional. So the other thing I have in here is a headlamp, and this is one of their tiny little runners headlamps, again by LEDLenser. Rechargeable battery pack here. I have the cable to recharge it in that little pouch, and this thing is perfect. Smash it on your head, you can get doing what you need to do, and your hands aren't taken up having to hold on to it. Very lightweight, very comfortable, isn't gonna weigh you down when you're out and about. Last thing I have in here is the LEDLenser P7R. So this is the signature flashlight. This thing is an absolute powerhouse. You do have the ability to focus the light as well, so you can go from a wide beam to a narrow beam, and it is just a super bright light. You have 3 power modes plus a turbo mode. I'm not actually sure what the lumen rating is on this, but it's very bright for its size. Again, charges with the proprietary magnetic charger that I have in that charging pouch, and this thing will run for a long time. Battery life on these are amazing. It also has different modes on here as well, so you can go through a strobe mode, an SOS mode, on this little adjustable collar. So just a really versatile flashlight in a very small package. So moving on to the main compartment here. This is where we have most of the stuff that is going to get you out of trouble. So first of all, we have a large first aid kit, trauma pack. So this has got a bunch of stuff in here, and what I love so much about this is the fact that not only do you have all of your trauma stuff, like I said, extra vented chest seals and also an extra tourniquet there, but the nice thing about this is that everything is labeled. So if you were to get into a stressful situation and you needed somebody else to give you first aid, or somebody else grabbed this and didn't necessarily know how it was packed, everything here is listed so you know what it's for. The other thing as well, which could be a real game changer in a stressful situation, is that it actually has a first aid emergency handbook. So let's say that somebody found you and you were hurt and you needed help and they didn't have any first aid training like you did. Well, they could read this, and basically it has every potential injury that they might come across in here and how to basically treat it. Like I said, this is the bag that is going to get you out of trouble in a situation that you don't want to be in, where you've had to abandon everything, grab this and go. So little things like that can make all the difference. Then if you've seen my first EDC bag video, you will recognize this pouch here. This thing has everything pretty much that you're going to need in a pinch. I use this stuff all the time, even when I'm just like running around the house, where I have this stuff in the house, in drawers, I'll just go straight to this because I know where it is, it's easy to grab, and I use it and then put it straight back. But I have already gone into detail on this before. The only thing that I've changed from that first video is I now have this SOG tool in here, this multi-tool. So I did upgrade my multi-tool. The reason why I did this, the one that I had was a cheap one, and I just wanted to make sure that I had something that was going to last, something that was going to do everything that I needed it to do. So this thing is awesome. I'm not actually sure the model number of this. I'll link everything in the description below. Like I said, I am definitely not a professional EDCer, so there are people that are a lot better qualified than I am, but this has got everything that I need. So in here we have all of the potential bits that you might need, screwdriver bits, Torx bits, and it's all very easy to keep organized. So we have a spork here. Down the back I have a radio. So this thing is long wave, short wave, medium wave, FM, AM. I figure that if the zombies do come, then I always see in the movies that they're always broadcasting over some random long wave, short wave radio frequency. You'll be able to pick it up on this. Down the back here I also have a fold up dry bag as well. So that's super useful if you need to keep something dry, then this thing will roll out into a decent sized dry bag. I have some pen scissors. So these are really cool. These are just like a little pair of scissors that you just slide open, and right there you have yourself a little pair of scissors. Then here in the middle we have some cleaning cloths. You can use this for whatever you like. You could even set fire to them if you wanted to. Talking of setting fire to stuff, amazing idea from some of you guys on my first EDC video about bringing my own fire starters. Obviously here I have a bunch of ways to make fire. I have a regular lighter, I have a flint here, a fire starter here, so I've got the striker and the flint. But you guys were talking about getting cotton balls and soaking them in Vaseline, petroleum jelly, put them in a little Ziploc bag, and apparently they'll burn for like 3 or 4 minutes. I am going to get some of those, I just haven't yet, but I am gonna add it into this kit. You basically just get a cotton ball, and you get some Vaseline, and you put the cotton balls into a little Ziploc, you put the Vaseline in, smush them all around, and then if you set fire to one of those cotton balls, what happens is it will actually melt the petroleum jelly, it will give off a gas, and the gas burns. So the ball itself doesn't set on fire, it just melts the petroleum jelly, creates that gas, and then that burns. So awesome way to make fire with very, very little real estate taken up in your pouches and in your bags. Then we've got a rescue whistle. We have a multi-tool here with our Allen bits on it, some zip ties, some small zip ties, and then down the back here I have some super glue, the gel super glue. Super important to have that because if you need to close up a little cut or something, or you need to stick something, fix something, whatever, just a super versatile product to have. I also have some duct tape, just a very small roll of duct tape here. And then finally I have a bottle opener because you never know when you might need to open a beer. So getting deeper into this bag, we have this, which is a Baofeng, I don't know how you pronounce it, but anyway, it is a radio, and this thing is going to get you out of trouble should you need it. Now you do need a license to use these radios, so you have to go online, you have to do all of your licensing to legally be able to use them, but should you need to broadcast in an emergency, you aren't going to get in trouble for it. So don't buy one of these and start chattering away because you can get in trouble for that, but they are great to carry because if you are out in the middle of nowhere, then you may be able to get in contact with somebody with this. You have to know all of the local repeater stations, I think they're called, like the towers that people are using. You have to know the frequencies for those, so it is important that you look up those in the area that you're in. There are resources online for all of that. But yeah, just a super versatile tool. Go and Google how to utilize these because they are definitely lifesavers in a situation where you're out and about and you don't have mobile phone signal. You can reach people a long way away. And then also what I bought to help with that is this ridiculous, look at the length of that. It's, how long is that? 70 something inches? I forget. So I saw this on the suggested portion right underneath where the radio was, and I was like, well, of course I've got to get the military style call in the airstrike antenna for it. The other thing that I've bought since the last video is I got one of these extended life batteries. So this thing is, I think, double the output of the regular battery. So super important to have one of these. I also have another one that allows me to run just AAA or AA batteries inside of this case. And again, that's something that's going to allow me in a pinch where I don't have the charger for this, I can at least try and find some batteries, some regular batteries, and I can still run the radio. So talking of water purification, this is a basic water purification kit. So you basically fill up the bag and then drip it through this or push it through this, and it will give you a clean water source. So this is a pretty much a more heavy duty version of the straw in here. So that's something that's good to have, good to keep in. Again, if you had some like really gross water, I would probably run it through this rather than through this. I think it would definitely be, this would do a better job of filtering it. It also doesn't take up too much room, comes in this nice little bag, and so it can just sit down here in the bottom of the bag. And if we keep going down, we also have a microfiber towel. So this is a large towel. They dry quickly. They do a great job of keeping you dry. They do a great job of drying you off, and it doesn't really take up too much space compared to like a regular towel. So I figure if you're out somewhere cold, you get wet, you need to dry off to keep warm, this is going to be a great asset. And then finally down here we have an air shim. And what these are for is for putting in between gaps like car doors, any type of window opening. You can basically slide it in. Obviously you can see they're super, super thin. And then with this little hand pump, you inflate them and then that will give you a gap. So let's say you did lock yourself out of a car or you needed to get into a window or something, then you could use this just to pop it open a little bit, get something down so that you're able to then access wherever it is that you're trying to get to. Again, I like these things that are very low profile, that take up very little space, but have good functionality. So this is definitely something that is useful to have in one of those go bags. It also has a laptop sleeve back here. I haven't got my laptop in it, but there's definitely space for that. And then there is another mesh pocket here in the front as well, should you need to use that. Again, I just kind of packed the basics here. Now, if you were trying to grab this on the way out, I can't really think of too much stuff that I might need additional to what I have in here, but if you guys can, please leave me a note in the comments and let me know what else you would keep in here. I feel like I've done a pretty good job preparing for every situation, but I know that you guys are definitely going to have ideas for me because you did after the last EDC video. All right, should we get into how this thing is bulletproof now? Because that is definitely why you clicked on this video, not to look through all the things that I have in it. Let's put this back in here and let's show you. So I totally forgot to include this pouch here. So there is one on the side, and in here is where I have all of my weather gear. So this is a poncho that can also double up as a rain shelter. So you could string this up into a little canopy. That's super cool that it packs away so small. In this tiny little package, you actually have a sheet that will fold out into a decent sized ground sheet. So again, I love the fact that it packs away into this little stuff sack. It also has these white stitching markers on it, so that when you do try and fold it back up again, then you can see exactly where you need to fold to, because you know if you've ever tried to get something back into the bag that it shipped in, it's very difficult. So you can see that you fold it there, you can see that you fold it there, and then that gives you the ability to then just turn this inside out and put it away nicely so that it fits back into where it came from. So then the last thing I have in here is this little backpack. So if you did need an additional way to carry stuff, then you could use this. It folds away super small. It's not going to be able to carry super heavy stuff, but it is going to give you additional storage space if you need it. All right, so the whole reason that you bought this is not because it's a cool bag. You bought this because it is in fact bulletproof, and this one currently set up has level 3A armor, which will stop a handgun. You can get other plates for this, so you can run up to, I think, level 3 armor will stop like AK-47 rounds and stuff like that. They are obviously a heavier plate. This thing, fully loaded as it is, I can still lift it up with one arm fairly easily. I don't know the weight on it, but it's not super heavy. So the way that you make it bulletproof is you will put this backpack on. Now, most importantly, you have to make sure that you pull all of the tabs nice and tight. So you want it to be on your back as secure as possible. It also has this waistband here, which is really nice, that has these nice little padded sides, and it has a very heavy duty buckle. So you can pull this on too, but let's say that you were just wearing it and you needed something in a pinch, then what you do is you're gonna grab on these tabs. Now what I find is that the higher up on the tabs you can get, the better, because as you pull them out, you're then gonna pull it up above your head, down in front, and now you have level 3A armor on your chest. Now this is a one size fits all unit, so I am 6 foot, I'm 220 pounds, and so this fits me very snugly. It comes quite high up onto my chest and then also onto my stomach here. It covers all of these sort of mission critical things. Now on here I just have a taser. I know this is on the wrong way, but that's because this is a inside of the waistband holster. I'm right-handed, so I just clipped this on just to show you, but you do have all of this molly on the front, so you would be able to attach anything here that you wanted to. If you did want to put a firearm on here and have it the correct way, obviously you would, but this was more just for illustration. And also YouTube gets kind of funny when you start putting firearms and things, so this is a taser. It's legal to carry here in California, so nobody has to freak out. Plenty of space on here. You could run additional mag holders. You could also put you know, some sort of Velcro badge up here if you wanted to, security, something like that. But it's very comfortable. I can move around, I have full articulation, and it stays put here on my chest. Now, I also have a level 3A plate in the back here, which I'll show you in a minute, which means that not only is this bulletproof from the front, but it is also bulletproof from the back. Super easy to deploy, very comfortable to wear. Like I said, if you do grab from high up on these straps here, it does help with lifting it up above your head and over. You do have to go straight up above your head. If you try and come forwards, you'll hit yourself in the back of the head with it, and that's no fun. So one of the other things that I just wanted to talk about was the fact that when you do pull this over your head, bear in mind that if you are wearing a baseball hat, then you might struggle with actually getting the clearance. This is as far out as I can pull it, and as you can see, there isn't much in the way of clearance from my forehead to this. Now you can't get around that because this has to sit this high up on your chest. So just bear that in mind if you do get one of these. If you are wearing a hat, ditch the hat before you deploy it. Otherwise you might get into a situation where it gets fouled on the peak of your hat, or the hat gets knocked over your eyes or something. So it is just good to know, and that's just one of my observations about using this system. So there you have it, guys. That is my bulletproof EDC backpack. And this thing, it's definitely overkill, I will say that, but you never know, and it's always good to be prepared. I figure if you are going to build a backpack for a zombie apocalypse, you may as well make it bulletproof. Now I know a lot of you guys are watching this from the UK, and obviously over there we don't really have the issues that we have here in America with gun crime. I'm not going to get into any of that argument. I believe in looking after yourself, looking after your loved ones, and dealing with the situation that you find yourself in. So if you are going to build a backpack like this, then why not get one that has a little bit of added protection in it? That's the way that I look at things. Do I wish that I didn't want one of these? 100%. But am I glad that I've got one? 1000%. I was going to talk to you about my tactical fanny pack, because if you watched the EDC carry video, you will know that I wasn't sure whether I would like to have a fanny pack or a bum bag, whatever you want to call it. This, this. Needless to say, given the fact that I have this one now, I do quite like them. But I'm going to save that for another video, and we can go through everything that I carry in this on a daily basis. And no, this one isn't bulletproof. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps with the whole YouTube algorithm thing. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed already, because I would love to see you here again. And most importantly, until next time, remember, don't know anything I wouldn't do. See ya.